When you're designing your background, it's good to just do black and white studies before you even start your values. This is because it can help you to make decisions, such as is my character light on a dark background or dark on a light background. This principle can really help when you design your background elements also. Always think about how the contrast works in your image. This example here has two colors at the same RGB value setting in Photoshop. When we change them to grayscale, you can see they merge into one. So this is why grayscale thumbnails can help to get the contrast of the image right before you move into your color studies. I've seen digital artists work in both ways. Some start in black and white and convert to color, and others work straight in color. I would say for rough color studies, either one is possible to give an impression, but the final design I'd recommend to do in pure color, as this in my opinion gives the best results. How your shapes work together is important for stylized background design, where you have to simplify your use of shapes and details. If we look back into history, we could say that cave paintings have their own shape language. They simplify the symbols in order to communicate a story. Here are some examples of different shapes used through different points in history. Taking the basic shapes of a circle, square and triangle, anything is possible. We can squash, stretch and combine these shapes to create different alternatives. Repeating shapes is another way to bind your composition together, and also choosing to use soft shapes or angular will create a different kind of mood. Angular shapes tend to appear aggressive and rounded more calming, but of course you can always break the rules. When we take our original character and then apply colours opposite the colour wheel, we get some interesting schemes that work straight away. When you create your palette, it's always good to have one dominant colour and use the others as accents, meaning in just a few selected places in the image. For example, an accent can be used to make your character more distinctive by spot colouring a feature like hair, the belly or the eyes. In the first character, we're using the dominant colour of cyan and blue, and with a red stripe across the head. Here we're using green on the colour wheel, which is opposite magenta and a complementary colour. The magenta stripe works really well against the body colour. Reducing your colour palette down can be a good option to try and make your style distinctive. Let's look at how we can alter the finished background and apply different colour schemes using the RGB wheel. Here we're using the complementaries of red and cyan. The cyan pops out the character, and I have desaturated the background red so it doesn't distract too much. The Triadic Color scheme takes 3 points evenly spaced around the colour wheel. You need to balance the colours though carefully so they don't appear too distracting when they're against each other. Now we're using blue as a dominant colour, creates a cold feeling to the environment, and the yellow as the accent to the character draws your eye in. The split complementary system uses analogues as a base, 2 colours at the base of the triangle and a third colour as the accent. You can either use warm tones with a cool accent or cool tones with a warm accent. This can give a fun and fresh look to your palette and is really good for beginners. Using a square to make your palette is quite challenging as it uses colours at 4 points on the colour wheel. Again, let one colour dominate and have the other colours as secondary. If you ever get stuck with colour palettes, one option that I've used a lot is to reference nature. I would say the best way to get good at colour is to go outside and study it. Look at the colour combinations you get and write them down. You can even do quick colour studies. Disney background artists used to do a lot of plein air painting, which means they used to go outside, take their canvases with them and paint from nature. In the games industry, of course, this isn't always possible, so it's common to Google for photographs. The only problem with this method is that you don't know if the photo you find has been oversaturated, as some stock photographs exaggerate the colours. So it's always good to consider this when you're looking for colour reference on the internet. In the next video, Maureen will start to add colour to the black and white thumbnail sketches.